Hello, my name is Mark, welcome to the video. So today I'm on the wonderful Leeds and Liverpool Canal. I've just come across the border from Lancashire into Yorkshire, and I'm on this beautiful stretch in the middle of the countryside. I'll show you the swim shortly, and I'll show you the area that I'm fishing in, and then we'll go on and explain how we're going to fish it today. It's a lovely stretch of canal, pretty much overgrown, the bankings in this area, but I have found one little spot that I can drop into, and you can see that across we've got some lovely tree cover as well, so it looks like an ideal spot today. We're going to look at how we're going to be fishing it next, but for the moment just admire the canal stretch here. Very overgrown, but right in the heart of the countryside. So just drop the tackle off here, and this is a spot that I'm going to be fishing. It's pretty much the only place I can fish. The banking's quite steep and overgrown, but there is a spot here that obviously people have fished before, and I can guess why. We've got a good fish holding feature across. That's a few overhanging trees, and just to the left I've got some sort of weed beds or reed beds. Okay, so the baits and the approach for today. I've got plenty of dendrobina worms. I'm going to chop some of those up using this worm whizzer to make a sort of a worm pulp, if you like, that I'm going to use to feed with. And I'm going to kick off by feeding that and fishing a worm on the hook. But what I'm also going to do is have a second line there where I'm going to feed groundbait. I've got this census brown crumb. I'm going to put a few bits of sweetcorn in that. And I'm also going to try something a little bit different. I'm going to be experimenting over the next few months with flavours, and I've got this powder. It's actually ground up and dried mango. Now in this particular stretch we've got bream and skimmers, and they do love a sweet mix, so I thought I'm going to put a bit of this in to this just simple brown crumb to add a bit of sweetness and see how we go with that. And what I'll be doing is fishing sweetcorn. Now I'm going to look at both the float and possibly the feeder. I've brought both with me, but I'll kick things off on the float, and yeah, we've got this to target bream, and we've got the worms to target everything else really, including bream and probably more likely initially perch. Just to tell you about the setup for today, I've got a Shimano Sienna reel. I think that's about 1500 size. No, it's not, it's a 2500 size. I've just seen it on the side. That's loaded with 3-pound line, and then I've got it attached to a 10-foot Omni match rod. It's a Shakespeare on, very inexpensive. I think it cost about 30 quid, maybe even less than that, because I think I got some discounts on it. And on the end of that I've got a waggler float, which I'll show you. It's a loaded Drennan waggler float. There we go. And that takes, well, it's a VisiWag, it takes 1.5 grams I think. Fairly fine tip on it. So I've decided to use this 0.125 hook link. This equates to 3.22 pound, and I'm going to couple that initially with a size 16 Frenzy barbus hook. Bit heavy maybe, you think, for canals, but there are some bigger fish in here, so I'm going to see how it goes, and I can always you know, fine down if I need to. So I've got the brown crumb there. I'm going to try a bit of this dried mango powder. I have tasted it. It is quite strong, quite bitter, so I'm just going to put just a light dusting of it in to start with. Give that a mix up, add some water, leave it for a while, and we should be good to go. And what I'm also going to do is use the juice from the sweetcorn along with some water that I've got in my drop bucket, just to add a bit of extra flavour and sweetness. So that's the ground bait mixed up. It's going to need a little bit of water later on, but I've just dampened it through. It smells lovely. I'll leave that for a bit, and then we'll add a bit more water to it when we're wanting to use it. So put a good handful of worms in the worm whizzer. This is a Westlake one, and basically you kind of seal that up by twisting the lid. See if we can do this one-handedly. And there's sort of a cord there that whizzes the blades round and mashes up the worms. So I'll do that now. For the squeamish I won't do it on camera, but I'll show you the finished product. It's actually done a great job. I usually use sort of chopped worm scissors to do this, but this makes the process a whole lot easier. You can see there's this blade here, and I've got that lovely sort of mashed up worm now, cut very finely. Now, a lot of people will rinse the worms off, but I'm a big fan of the soil that the worms come in, because I believe that holds a lot of flavour. So yeah, that's ready to go. So just doing a bit of plumbing up at the moment. Got a reed bed just over to the left, and I'm just seeing the depth just at the end of that, around about, well, just over 2 feet there. And then let's just have a little look out further in front of me. Although I've got the float rod, I am contemplating fishing a feeder across at some stage later on as well. So I'm just initially going to plumb up for the float and then have a look what the situation is across with the feeder. So yeah, it drops off nicely there, so not a bad estimate. We've got certainly 3 feet there, just over 3 feet. Just deepen that up a touch. Just a little whiz out there. Not make too much noise with a plummet. I was a little bit cautious with plumbing up because I think sometimes you can do more harm than good, but it's just, especially with a rod, if you've got a pole, then it's sort of a much more gentle approach and more accurate, to be quite fair. Right, I'm all set up. It is a drizzly, rainy old day, so I'm sat under the brolly. If you can hear a few pitter patters of rain, it's on the brolly above me. So I'm all set up. I've got my waggler rod set up. I've plumbed the depth. I'm going to target 2 swims, one on the left hand side with chopped worm at the edge of some reeds, and then one in the deepest part of the canal, which is just this side of what we call the track. And I'm going to put a couple of balls of groundbait in, probably about that big, laced with sweetcorn. By the way, I would also like to mention that I'm super grateful to all those who've subscribed, liked and shared and commented on the videos. It means a great deal, believe me, when we're creating these videos. YouTubers, we want a bit of response, we want some feedback, and obviously we want a few subscribers, so thank you so much. So there's my worm slop. I'm going to put a ball of that in to start with. I'm going to pop that just at the end of those reeds there. So there the balls of ground bait ready. I'm going to put a couple in that size. You can see I put a few bits of sweet corn in the mix as well. Now it is a very fluffy mix this. It's very different is census brown crumb. It's made from French bread, I believe. That's why it's different than the UK brown crumb. But it is very light and fluffy, and you do struggle to hold big pieces of bait in balls like that, to be honest, because it wants to break up. Now it might sort of settle down in a bit. Obviously I've just reintroduced some water in there, but it's just something to bear in mind. It's not a mix initially that you can just sort of ball up and fire out with a magapult. I'm just going to do a nice little underarm lob out there with these, so it's not going to be a problem, but I would envisage that this is going to create a wonderful cloud in the water and hopefully attract a few bream. I just want to put one there, I want a little bit further out, and the ducks like it. So yeah, that's created an absolutely magical cloud in the water. I can see it sort of hanging there, a little bit like liquidized bread. Really impressed with that. Good. So I'm going to leave that to settle a while. I'm going to concentrate on this left hand area where I fed that chopped worm, and see if I can sort of coax out a few little perch. And then a little bit later on, maybe in half an hour's time, we'll have a little go over that ground baited area with a bit of sweet corn, and flip-flop between sweet corn and worm on that particular line. Right, so time to get a worm on the hook. I'm just going to be quite bold and use a big worm to start with. Maybe a little bit big for this size 14 hook. But there's the worm on the hook. I'm fishing about an inch off the bottom for this left hand area. I like to fish off the bottom with perch because I think they love to see the worm sort of wiggling about. So that's the first cast over that left hand area where I fed that chopped worm. And usually if there are perch around, you get a very quick response typically, and I'd expect that, yeah, if there's a perch or two in there, we'd have a fish pretty much straight away. Well, there's a little bob of the float. That's not to say that I'd only catch perch using this method. It's great for all species, roach and bream as well, and skimmers. But perch are usually the first on the bait. So it's looking like this rain might be in a little while. I drove over and the motorway was horrendous. It was full of spray and heavy rain, and the windscreen wipers doing 10 to the dozen. And then fortunately I set up and it was pretty clear, so it's always good to sort of set up when it's dry, isn't it? You don't have to worry about getting anything wet through before you even start. So I did that, got set up, and then it started to come down. I've got my brolly up now. So as I said at the start, this is the Leeds and Liverpool Canal. As the name suggests, it traverses the countryside from Liverpool at one end and Leeds at the other. Very long canal. And if you've seen any of my Lancaster Canal videos, it is a deeper and generally a wider canal than Lancaster Canal. And basically this is my home stretch of canal, really. I have travelled a little way to get today, but it runs through where I grew up in Blackburn, and I've spent many happy hours on the Leeds Liverpool Canal. So the Canal and Rivers Trust offers an annual ticket. It's called a Waterways Wanderer Permit, and it gives you access to, well, hundreds of miles of canal throughout the country. And I'll put a link in the description to their website where you can buy this permit, and this particular stretch is included in that, so it's really good value for money. Okay, so that was interesting. I started off on this near side line, and I've been fishing it for about 15 minutes after putting that sort of sloppy worm mix in, and I had a couple of really tentative movements of the float, but nothing else. So I've just refed some of that sloppy stuff again, and I've had a bite straight away. So it's looking like there were fish there. Let's put another worm on the hook. Let's get it out there. Yeah, usually when you're feeding chopped worm, you get an instant response. That's what I kind of expected, because if you're not getting a bite, sometimes on the canal, you know, you're not getting a bite when you expect one. It can be because there's a pike out there, and when it eventually clears off, you start getting bites again. That was strange, because as soon as I put that slop mix in, that worm mix, it sailed away and my worm was gone. Now whether there's just kind of like one or two perch there, because I am suspecting that they're perch, you know, and they've grabbed the worm and now they're full. Because, little tiny indication, again, that the previous one was a right sail away. As soon as I fed, cast out over it, and the float sailed away and came back with no worm on the hook. So again, it's gone pretty quiet. Did have a little movement of the float then. It'd be interesting to see what happens if I feed another bit of that worm mix. One of the issues you've got is it is easy to sort of overfeed chopped worm, because it is a very sort of strong and pungent bait. So, oh, there we go. There we go. That's the answer. Cheeky little perch. Lovely. Grabbing that worm, it's almost as big as the perch itself. Right, let's put that back. Let's have another little cast out. So it might be that they're just very small perch and they're not really able to cope with that worm so much. But let's see, at least that's got us off the mark. That's fish number 1. So right, just by way of an experiment, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a much smaller piece of worm on and just see if that does the trick. So yeah, half the size it was. Let's just give it a little swing out again. And let's see, because it just had a small perch and then it's gone quiet again. So let's just see what response we get from a smaller piece of worm. Ooh! Now, bump that. Bump that. Didn't feel very big, but that's a bite. Yeah, another little dip there. There may be tiny little perch. In fact, we've got the float. I don't know whether there's a fish on and it's dragging it, or whether we've got the canal starting to move now. Just give it a minute. There we go. Oh! Wow. Little surprise there. Well, there we go. That might be another explanation for some of these tentative bites. We've got a little roach on that slightly smaller piece of worm. Nice. Pop it back. Let's have another little swing out there. So about 35 minutes into the session, I've had one perch, a small perch and a roach on worm. Very slow this near side line at the moment. So I've just put another little blob of that sloppy worm mix in. I'm going to leave that now and I'm going to have a go over the ground baited line. So I've got a little piece of sweetcorn now. I've deepened up to the depth of that area over there. I'll be about an inch or so on the bottom. So let's have a cast out there and see if there's anything on that other line. Well, I wasn't expecting that. I've got a slab on. I'm just trying to get my action camera working here. Oh, blimey, first cast on that sweetcorn. I've got a slab on and it's a nice one as well. A very big canal bream. Let's see if we can get this one in. Blimey. It actually just rocketed away, so come on, beauty. Jesus, that is a lump. Wow. Just give it a rest for a minute and then we'll have a good look at it. But first cast on sweetcorn. Didn't expect that, but I'm so pleased. Let's have a look at it. I'm going to get wet through here. I've got the net under me, just supporting the fish. But you can see, beautiful canal bream, wonderful. Whoops, let's get it back. So I'm getting a few movements on the float, a few odd lifts and things like that, which is a good indication that you've got bream in your swim. It's such a deep-bodied fish, and big fish really for a canal. You do get them sort of brushing on the line, and although it's not an actual bite, it's a line bite, but it is an indicator that you've got fish in your swim, particularly bream. So that's quite a substantial lift. I am going to just be patient with this because what I don't want to do is foul up anything, so I'm going to wait for a proper sail away bite. But I'm definitely getting movements on the float now. That's another one. I'm just getting a few sort of tentative bites, and then another one. See it fighting under the water there. Yeah, just a couple of bream. A second one now, so yeah. Cheers, mate. So yeah, I'm pulling a bit, these fish. Bit of a smaller one this, but bream usually come in like a wet sock, and this one's having a bit of a go. There we go. In the net with it. Bream number 2. Again, coming on sweetcorn. That's another lovely canal bream. Don't know, maybe 2.5 pounds this one, a little bit smaller. But yeah, put up a good scrap. Beautiful colours, of course. I know bream aren't everybody's cup of tea, but they are an amazing fish. And a lovely colour pattern, and that long anal fin as well. That makes them recognisable. Right, let's get this one back. See if we can get another one. Right, let's pop this one back. Just let it right itself. There we go. Wonderful. So that's a great result, 2 bream, and I'm sure there's more in the peg as well. I'm getting lots of indications on the float, so I'm hopeful that we might have 1 or 2 more. So first boat of the day going through. I'm not sure how the fish are going to react to this. Morning. Oh. Alright, no more yet, no. Hey? Sorry, say again? Did you get any more? Not yet, no. No, I'm hopeful though. Yeah, nice. I've got 2, so that's good. Right, cheers, pal. Sorry, the chap on the boat walked by just as I was landing my second fish, and I just had a chat to him whilst I was landing it. I didn't think he was somebody on a boat there, and he was just asking me had I caught another one, and he caught any more. So I've had those 2 bream, and then it's gone a bit quiet, and I'm just contemplating what to do next. I'm going to leave it a little while before I decide to probably feed a bit of sweetcorn over the top, and if it remains quiet I'm going to put another bowl of groundbait over there, and then I think I might come back onto this near side line and try that chopped worm again. Well, it's finally a bite, and a little perch on the end. That's been a long time coming, that. So it's very welcome. Well, another little greedy perch. I think the worm's about the same length as the perch. Let's pop it back. Ooh. Ooh. Well, oh, it's a little, I say a little skimmer, but I think it's a hybrid. It's a hybrid actually. There we go. So it's a little bit different than a skimmer. It looks very much like a skimmer, but the scales are bigger and there's a blue sheen to it. Yeah, and I'm saying that's a hybrid. That's a cross between a bream and a roach. Wonderful. Well, that's interesting. Right, let's have another little go across there. I think that's probably the first hybrid I've had off the Leeds and Liverpool Canal. Well, that's the first fish for a little while, a little roach, caught on worm. Well, swapped to coin after trying this near side line again. Oh, and well, unbelievably, that was a little jack pike that took the sweet corn, believe it or not, and it's just dropped off, which is good. Yeah, it's just clung onto the sweet corn. How weird. Greedy little devil. Thought it was a skimmer, to be honest, but never mind. First bit of activity I've had in a while, so it's woken me up. Well, that would have been a first, catching a little jack pike on sweet corn. I've caught them on worms and maggots before, but never sweet corn. Almost had it in the net, but it just dropped off just before I got it to the net itself. So it's the only action I've had for quite a while, to be honest. It's got very, very quiet. But I'm just going to have another look over that ground-baited area, sweet corn, and just see if there's a skimmer or a bream possibly over there. So I'm thinking about moving to the feeder. It's been very quiet on the float for the last hour, and I think what I'm going to do is get my little feeder rod out, dig it out, put a tiny little feeder on and fish sweet corn and worm over across to the cover where the trees are. So I'm going to give it another 5 minutes on the float, and then I think I'm going to make that change. Let's get my feeder rod out. I've got, I think it's a 10-foot, almost like a picker rod really, with a very light tip on it. And down at the business end I've got a very small cage feeder like that on a little running rig there. And on this end, I'll just show you, I've got a little twizzled boom, as we call it. I'll need to straighten that out, it's a bit too twizzly. And I'm going to put a little hook link on that, and I'm going to concentrate on fishing across towards that cover over there. Just had a little test cast and clipped up, and I've loaded that up. There we go. Plonked at the end of those trees. Sink the line, and then we're ready to fish. Things have got super hard, so I'm just going to go onto the bomb now and just, and a little tap on the feeder there. First little tap. Right, well, I've cast across the other side there, and oh, I think that might have been a carp. Oh, I think that might have been a little carp. It's just snapped me. Oh. I just fished a bomb with a worm across to that area on the other side of the canal, and yeah, I just tucked in something. I was just trying to get the camera working, and it took me in these reeds to my left and then bolted off and snapped me, but it did look like a small carp to me. Not very big, maybe, I don't know, 1.5 pounds, something like that, but I'm pretty sure that was a carp. Oh dear. Oh well. I am on very light hook link, sort of high-tech hook link, so once it went into that reed I was a bit scuppered, I think I might have another little try over there, and this time beef up this hook link. So since losing that little carp, I've been concentrating on that further swim. I've been trying worm, and I've also been trying sweetcorn over there as well. And I've changed from the bomb to put that small feeder on again, filled with a bit of groundbait, to see if I can attract some fish over there. I was hoping that there might be another carp or two over there, but it's not worked out. But I'm going to give it another few more minutes, and then what I will do, I'm going to try these couple of swims for the last time. The area to the left where I've been feeding chop worm, and the area in front of me where I've been feeding groundbait and previously caught those bream. So I'll try those and then probably call it quits. Right, oh well, I've given it my best shot across there without any further bites, so I'm now back on the float line, the area just in front of me where I previously fed groundbait, and I also fed a bit of chop worm now as well. So let's see if there's any activity on there. Ooh. Well, there's a little bite, or whether it's just the float settling. I think that's actually a bite, and that looks like another perch. There we go. Just about swingable. Nice little perch. Beautiful. I think reducing the size of the worms helped as well, because they've tended to be on the small side of these fish, so I think a big full-size dendrobina is just sort of too much for most of them to take. I know that perch are pretty greedy and they'll have a go, but I think there's been one or two missed bites because they've been smaller fish just nipping the end of the worm. So it'd be nice to have another fish or two to finish with, but it's been a good day. The weather's been up and down. Started off raining and cold, and it gradually warmed up, and then it's sort of clouded up a bit and getting cooler now again. Well, it's another fish falling to worm. Just deepened up a bit and went back over that area just a little bit further out, and has got this, which I'm pretty sure it's a hybrid. You can see it's got a bit of skimmer and a bit of roach in it. So yeah, nice little fish. Let's get it back. Not very big, but a beautiful example of a little perch. So I hope you've enjoyed joining me on the banks of the Leeds and Liverpool Canal. We've had a little bit of drama. We've had a little pike on sweetcorn that dropped off. We've also had a little carp that escaped as well, but we've managed to catch two lovely bream, and we've had hybrids, we've had perch, and we've also had roach. So it's been a good day. Weather's been a bit changeable, but it's nevertheless been a great day on the banks. So thank you very much for watching. Enjoy your own fishing, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you.